Hey everyone, and we're live. If you're watching, basically this is going to be a spoiler show, so do not watch this if you haven't seen Infinity War or you do not want to know what happens. So
yeah, don't. This is the time that RaddTitan is telling you to turn this fucking shit off if you don't want to know what happened in the film.
So yeah, if you don't want to know, turn it off, because I know other people are going to be like, "Oh my god, you ruined this or you ruined that for me by me seeing this and whatever else." So, yeah, switch off now, motherfucker. If you don't want to do it, we're not going to post. We were going to post it live on Facebook
in about half an hour. I don't know how long this chat will take, so we'll be back. But we'll be back on with the regular viung chat soon after.
Well, hopefully, as I say, hopefully that's what the plan is to do. Because I mean, obviously, this is sort of a pretty big kind of monumental movie in our sort of hobby, our geeky hobby. So this is quite big. So we thought we would do something separate, and then also if people obviously want to see the updated news, then it won't ruin that for them. Because I know some other people are just going to do it as one. And we don't want to have then people saying, well, I want to see the chat, but you just told me that, something happens in the film. So again, one more time, turn the fucker off if you don't see Infinity War. Yeah, I've even labeled this as Infinity War spoilers. So if someone comes across and goes,
oh, that looks fun.
Yeah. So
the bottom line is, as well, is if anybody's out there, anyone in our groups and all our subs and people, if there are people that want to talk about the movie, this is another place that you can come and chat about it, because we have got a ban on all our pages at the moment about talking about this film.
Yeah, I mean, what we were going to do is I did do a vote today to see whether anyone wanted to, if I put a post up that just said Infinity War spoilers, all that bullshit, don't view if you don't want to see that. But then someone did make a point that what happens sometimes is if you have a comment, then underneath you can still see it. You can still, if you scroll down and you see a comment on something, you can always see one response, and that one response could be something quite vital. So again, I can't remember the date, but for some reason, Kevin and Elena he posted a date. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was all in relation to when he's watched the film. But we'll see. All right.
Good. Yeah. So we got together. We did a couple of reviews. We saw some pieces, and then we all went out. So it was me, Alex, Gary Speed, Michael Riali. We took Redder out, one of our moderators on our page. Took him out. And met his lovely wife as well, Yasmina. So love you both. They were a lovely couple.
It's a good night, definitely. We were trying to get a few more people out, but obviously we wanted to go to a late night showing. So most people were like, "Oh, it's a school night. I've got to get up for work in the morning." And I also want to thank Redder's wife, because she did buy some Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and she left it in the freezer. So sorry, but I ate it. So yeah, I'm not letting that shit go. So
the Hebrew is strong. I'll have that. I think I'll take that.
Also, Zhao's just come on. So Zhao, I keep forgetting to message you, because I always notice at the beginning of the chat the only time I see that you've tried to call me on Google Hangouts or whatever you call me on is when I go onto a chat. And I forget by the time I finish the chat to tell you I missed your call. So Google Chat is pointless. The most useless thing to call me on.
Calling when we're going on live. Why would you?
No. He calls me like last Wednesday or whatever it is. I go on to Google Hangouts and it says you have a missed call from Zhao, and I'm like, oh, okay. I look at it. And it's last week because it doesn't.
Bastard, you horrible, neglectful shit, you.
All right. Anyway,
I was quite disappointed that I wasn't sitting next to Gary, because I like to sit next to Gary at the cinema, because Gary has this tendency, right? Like I feel like I'm there with my son, but like he's only like my older son, older than me son. I'm like sitting back, and you're like sitting back watching, and all of a sudden, from your peripheral vision, you just see someone's head just lean really forward, and like sits on edge of his seat. When something's happening that he really likes, he gets forward and forward and forward until he almost stacks it over the person in front of him, which is just priceless to be there for.
Well, I was disappointed that he went for a piss break halfway through, but anyway,
that
was amateur hour, Gary. Fuck me.
If he was sitting there and knew that happened, I'd have grabbed him and put him and sat him back down. Wait till the end, bitch.
Yeah. Again, in all honesty, he didn't miss very much anyway. So, all right, what we'll do then is start at the beginning. So, the film basically continues directly after Thor Ragnarok. So the start of Infinity War is on the ship, and it's basically everyone has just been fucking massacred on the ship. That Thor and when they blow up Asgard. So they're all on the ship.
Well, when Asgard blows up, all of the survivors, the people you actually care about, at the end of Ragnarok, you're like, I'm so glad that they all made it.
Yeah.
Then literally the last scene in Ragnarok, if you stay to the end of the credits on all the Marvel films, you always get extra stuff. And the end of that scene is they're all standing there like looking out on the horizon, all hopeful. And you see this massive ship just come up behind the Thor ship. And then obviously that's where Infinity War actually starts from, is them boarding that ship.
Yeah.
And there's just bodies everywhere, which is just fucking brilliant. I mean, in fairness, I actually think the first 15 minutes sort of shakes you awake. You know, you're sitting there, you're thinking, oh, you know, they're going to build to this. They're going to, you know, it's going to start off maybe fucking Wanda and Vision are making pancakes or some other shit. It's going to start there and then it's going to build into something. But literally, it doesn't. The whole film just grabs you by the
it jumps straight in. Literally straight in at the deep end, and it just basically like. So what happens is a lot of people were asking about the Rock guy, so the guy who's
he's dead, isn't he?
Well, the thing is they're all like, well, what happened to him? Because he didn't come in and say anything, and was just like, well,
he didn't get a chance to crack any wise jokes because I guess Thanos turned him into a pummie stone and used him to smooth out his calluses. And then he got on the plate when he got on there. There's there's loads of bodies everywhere. All the people were just like sort of, you know, dying on the ship. And I think I'm trying to remember, but the Black Order, the whole of the Black Order were there. They actually missed one out from the comics. The Supergiant was not in the film, which was strange. So if you know your Black Order, you know that you've got you know, obviously you've got the leader, you've got Thanos there, you've got Corvus Glaive, who is the guy with the scythe spear-like instrument. You've got Ebony Maw, who is pretty much one of the main antagonists of this film. He talks a lot.
I don't know anything about him, but he was fucking awesome. He was great. I mean, he was great. And then the first one you mentioned, the Corvus, he was really good as well. Both of them too.
Then you have Proxima Midnight is in it, which is one of the hotter sort of alien chicks, and then you have Dwarf, who's like I think his name's Black Dwarf. I'm sure it's.
I think it's Black Dwarf. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like pretty much he's like the muscle in in that. He's not. I mean, he's like the weakest of that group.
Your camera's gone.
The comics it's the same.
Your camera's gone well blurry.
That's it. I'm using my S9. I haven't messed about with it yet, so I don't know what it's
doing. Unless you're sex pest breathing, you get well excited about the film, and you're like breathing on the lens.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the one they missed was Supergiant, which is the other female. She looks something like out of Star Wars. She kind of has like a hood, and she's like pulled under, like proper alien. She's kind of blue. But in fairness, she also has very similar powers to Ebony Maw, just not as strong. So I think they probably looked at it and thought, you know, we don't need any more confusion. You need to sort of be invested. But they're all sort of there. And
that was one of the things I said to you. I haven't read. Were they in Infinity? Aren't they? Or
yeah, they're in Infinity. They're in a few other things as well. They make little appearances, but Infinity's their sort of.
I haven't read Infinity, so I don't know anything about them. And when they kind of popped in, they just kind of come out of nowhere. You kind of feel, well, I know a little bit. I don't know a lot about comics. I know a little bit about comics, but I don't know anything about them. So when they just popped up, I was a bit like, well, they could have had some kind of introduction, because previously you've always seen Thanos with, you see him in the throne, and he has that little, I think it's Guardians 1, where he has some little like bitch talking for him, and then breaks his neck or whatever. But you don't see Thanos with anyone. You always see him like, he goes and grabs the gauntlet, goes, I'll do this myself, and then all of a sudden he's got 5 people with him or whatever. So it's a bit like, where the fuck did they come from? There was that.
Yeah, I think also as well, if you've read Infinity, you know, like, I'll give a shout out to my boy, old James Green. You know what I mean? They do in the comics. They are actually they do come out of nowhere in the same. There is little elements in comics where they have a little bit of background, but it's very minimal. They just seem to come out of nowhere as people that he's in the comics. I think he is survivors that he has taken off their planet, and he is like put under his wing, and they work for him. They basically go around making sure nobody fucks about with them. They first sort of appear, I think, in Infinity when they're looking for his son, you know, and I think his son is being protected or kept by the Inhumans, by Black Bolt, and they go there and they basically say, you know, bitch, you better give me his boy or we're gonna fucking kill you. Or, you know, it's pretty. I mean, the thing is they're all sort of there. You know, Thor's all bashed up in he, and you know, I can't remember what happens, but I think then when he sort of kills, what's his name? Then he kills Thanos, kills Idris Elba.
Well, Hamed, something like that.
It's got a funny name. I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't trust myself to pronounce it, let alone you.
Yeah,
but,
trust me.
Yeah, he's like he basically is asking for, you know, where the stone, where the you know, the.
Oh, apparently, someone is saying here that Corvus Glaive and Proximity Midnight are married, or were married.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, there is a couple there together. Yeah, it's not in the film. It's not depicted that way in any way, but not that I saw anyway. But yeah, they sort of like he comes over, then he wants to know where the cube is. He wants to know where the stones are, and he basically he stabs him through the chest with Corvus Glaive's spear.
Yeah,
you know, he basically.
I don't know if I imagined it, but do you know what I thought was quite funny? The way I saw it was, he stabs him with the spear, and then when Corvus Glaive goes to get it back, he kind of gives him a fucking dirty look. He's almost like, you used my shit for, you know, he didn't even give it back, and he kind of walks over and kind of picks it up and like kind of eyeballs him a little bit. I don't know if I imagined that, but that was something when I watched it.
He probably took the kill from Corvus, which Corvus wouldn't like at all. But he does it, and then he picks up Thor. Then he picks up Thor by the head, and then starts having a discussion with Loki. I can't remember who says, but they come out of this brilliant, you know, the Iron Man line, "We have a Hulk" thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Hulk like smashes into Thanos, and they start having a punch up, and it's in the first, I don't know, maybe second or two, you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, we're gonna have a fight here." But he is like, the best description I can give it is like a weekend warrior in a bar thinks he's handy fighting against a professionally trained fighter. He is swinging stupidly, you know, open body swinging, and he is literally countering and banging this geezer all in his organs. He's banging the Hulk like in his liver, in his kidneys, in his ribs, in you know, into his spine. He's just fucking his shit up. It's actually brutal to see how badly he manhandles the Hulk. He really fucking smashes him up, which was one of my favorite points.
But the whole first, like, our structure is pretty poor here, but the whole first like 10-15 minutes was like but the whole first 10-15 minutes was literally like, you know, everyone's dead on the ship. Someone's asking about that Valkyrie lady, but you don't even see her, so I'm assuming she's dead as well. Then you see the guy who's Idris Elba is, but I don't know his name. It's so like, I can't remember, like Matador or something like that. But anyway, so he
Why are you going back over it?
No, so I'm just kind of recapping. But then he gets killed, and then like Thor's there wrapped in all these like kind of like metal by what's the guy Wall
Ebony Moore.
Ebony Moore, and then all of a sudden
screaming, isn't he? He's like that he's like sort of screaming and stuff
yeah,
like that
and then
because
it's
he's
like that.
and he would sort of put his fingers, and then he the whole parts of the ship just grab round him and sort of squeeze him and go around his mouth.
Yeah.
Then he obviously starts fighting Hulk and bashes him, and they manage to get Hulk away. I think it's the last move of, I can't remember who it is that does it. No, he does.
That's it's before that. He gets him away, or Idris Elba gets him away, and then he goes stupid move or whatever he does, and then he kills him. And then and then Loki is Loki, and says something about, you know, I'll serve you till my death or something like that. And then basically, he tries to stab Thanos in the face, which doesn't go very well, and then Thanos fucking picks him up and snaps his neck, which was quite grim as well.
Slowly, yeah. And I love Tom Hiddleston, so that was hard for me to watch because he's the villain you all love to hate. But he basically, Thanos says to him beforehand, he's like, "Give me the cube," and he's like, you know, and Thor was like looking like, "He doesn't have it, you stupid fool." It's back on Asgard. Asgard just exploded, and he's like looking like, "You stupid idiots." He's like says to, and then obviously Loki does that thing that he does where he reveals what he's hiding because he can cloak things, can't cloak people and everything else. So, you know, he does that, and he shows him that he has the cosmic cube, and goes from there. So then, obviously, once he takes the cube, he takes it in his hand, he just crushes it, which I don't know if we saw from the trailers, but he crushes it and then puts it into the glove.
It just like blows the dust away and shit. Yeah. No,
so he does that, and then that's when he tries to make some little sneaky thing that he's going to serve him, show him around Earth, tell him where to go, tell him who to see, blah blah blah. And there's another little blade that he pulls out of his sort of back, like under his sleeve, and he's about that close, isn't he? He gets about that close to Thanos' throat, and just like sticks his Good though, man. Really, that start was probably the best start, you know, of any Marvel film in the history of Marvel.
Well, one of my favorite starts of probably most films is probably Casino Royale. I think Casino Royale is fucking one of the best intros to a film. I've seen that intro more than I've seen the film. I've actually just sometimes I've just watched the intro because I love it. But this is close, man. This is really close. I love the intro, and it was very like just straight in the fucking deep end. No fluffing, no foreplay. It was just straight, boom, straight in there. You know, it was great. I can't remember where we go next. Where do we go next? You remember?
Well, then he obviously after that he starts. They start making a move to gather the other stones. What we do know from the start of the film, which a lot of people commented about Thanos smashing the Hulk up, but what they failed to realize is he actually had the Power Stone on him when he was beating. And he was beating the Hulk up. The reason why you know he has that is because he uses it to extract Loki to showing him that he had the cube, because he actually puts it to Thor's face, and his face is starting to break up, and he's screaming, absolutely screaming, and Loki is just like pretending he's playing poker. He's like, I don't give a shit, you know what I mean? I don't care, you know. But you know, in the end, the screaming gets too much, and he has to reveal it. So he has the stone when he beats the Hulk up. You know, which obviously signifies that he did go to Nova, and which is disappointing that we didn't see that, because he's gone to Nova and he's obviously killed everybody there and taken the stone.
Maybe that'll be
they talk about that happened, but you don't see that in the film, which is disappointing, because I think that would have been, you know, really want to see him achieve every stone. It would have been nice to see him go to Nova and kill everybody, and Glenn Close and everybody else, all the actors and people there from that part, you know. But I mean, then it gets on from where they're trying to work out where the stones are. So that we know then, don't we, that we're, you know, on Earth they have, how many do they have on Earth? They have the
4, no 3.
No, they have the eye, didn't they? They have Doctor Strange's one.
Yeah.
and they sort of break up. So the Black Order
Oh
break
yeah, it was
away,
only two on
and
that.
they all
Sorry.
go to sort of different places.
Yeah, and then you get like one set go to they go to Strange, and you have Hulk, Strange, and Iron Man over there. Strange, I won't go into all that, but Strange goes to get Iron Man, so come and get your friend or whatever, come sort your friend out. And then basically the other side go to Wanda and Vision, who are up in Scotland trying to chill and try and relax. So you see like Vision as a man trying to be a man and trying to be like with Wanda as relax and stuff.
You get that because we know from the comic books that them two are married and are together. But in the films, they sort of hint towards that. In I think it's Civil War, where they're making paprika or paprikash. Yeah. They're like flirting and making food, and it's semi-suggested that there's an intimacy there. But in this one, they basically confirm that they are together. They're like kissing and telling how much they love each other and all that, and they basically get Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive. Yeah. They go after them. There's a massive punch up. I think Vision gets quite badly wounded by.
He gets fucked up every time though. Every time there's some kind of standoff, he gets done up.
I really think he's strong. In Civil War, he comes across very strong. And in Avengers: Age of Ultron, he's super powerful, but he's just really in this film he is bitched by everybody, or like a whole Black Order's like getting fucking. I mean, he's really badly hurt, and I think they that's when they manage to flee. They do get away, which is funny because if that was in the comics, man, one of them bitches would be dead in front of Thanos. Because I remember when the Black Dwarf fails in the comics to get Thanos' son, he kills him. He ain't too happy with him at all. So they don't succeed. But the Ebony Maw and Doctor Strange fight is wicked. I think Ebony Maw is fighting on his own against the Iron Man, Doctor Strange.
Well, you have Black Giant every now and again. Black Giant gets back up and then gets knocked back down every now and again. But it is pretty much Ebony Maw the whole time, isn't it?
Who?
Ebony Maw all the time.
Black Dwarf, you mean?
No, Black Dwarf gets fucked up every time. But Ebony Maw is the one
he does all right. He does all right, but his powers don't go beyond muscle. To be brutally honest, he isn't really much more than that. So I mean, Maw is actually really, really dangerous. So it was quite. That fight was actually really good. That bit there, they actually do manage to capture Strange, but he's done something with the stone, hasn't he? Like
he puts he's done something a hex on it or something, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's done a spell like a death spell where. If he dies, then they're fucked. They can't get it out. Something like that.
Yeah, it's like they can't access it. But Moore's just like torturing him and messing with him. That's where you see him on the train where he's got all them sort of needles like coming towards his face, and he's all like twisted up. But there's a lot of action in the film. Like,
it's non-stop. The action is absolutely, it doesn't stop at all. That maybe is one of the things that some people have complained about. That it's just pure action and kind of minimal story. But the thing about the film is, when I did walk out, I did say that I still think, as an individual film, if you were to walk away and just to take one, like a film and watch it like as a whole, I think Guardians is probably the best individual film. But with Infinity War, the way that they've done it's a great way of pulling them all together and kind of finalizing them all. And they did it really, really well. I mean, there's so many ways they could have fucked it up big time. Like, you just got to remember that there's like 20, 25 superheroes, and everyone has a preference to who's the strongest and who they prefer. So they could have really fucked it up. But I think that it is the best film at pulling all these other films into one. I think they've done amazing. I think they've done really, really good.
I actually thought that the way that they showed Thanos' motivation and the way that they did him, I think it's the first time in certainly a Marvel film that they did a villain any degree of justice. Because I think they really built Age of Ultron to be what this film was. And when you went to see it, you know, all the trailers, you actually believed that this was going to be the one. But they stacked it, even with Age of Ultron, they stacked it on the villain. Which basically means they fell over on the last hurdle. You know what I mean? They did all the you know what I mean. You were really interested with all the trailers and the arc and how it was going to go, and then you just didn't buy into him in the end. He bored you within, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes of the movie. You just thought, you know, of seeing Ultron, it was just a bit like, okay, being a fucking idiot. It just doesn't have that. You know, I think the best villains are the ones you sort of care about a little bit. You sort of get an understanding of their motivations. You know,
and again, that was something again that was a bit of a concern, is about how they're going to make Thanos, and they're kind of like humanizing it. They humanized him quite a lot, and I think they've done it really, really well, making him into like this character who shares his vision of what he wants. I mean, it's not a perfect vision, but you know, he shares it, and yeah.
Why isn't it a perfect vision?
Well, because it's like the whole of, you know, it's. I mean, obviously, we're looking at it as a point of view from what we see as people on Earth. We're seeing it as in Earth is, I don't know how many, like 8 billion people, and you know, if we were to cut it to 4 billion people, we would have enough resources and we wouldn't have any starvation. Blah blah blah. Fine, okay,
that's right.
But then there may be civilizations where they don't have enough people, or you know, they don't have that issue because they're not overpopulated. So it's flawed because of that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but you're judging that based off nothing. You only know of one planet's existence that harbors life, which is our own, and that planet is overpopulated. So therefore, if other planets were populated, you can only go by the standard that is Earth. You can't go by any other standard.
But different planets, I mean, we've only, as Earth, we've kind of like only kind of fucked up in the last 200 years or so. So other planets are not going to be exactly the same point as Earth.
It's the same number, isn't it? I guess it's the same. I mean, you don't know about birth rates and things like that, but basically, it seemed to me like they were using this story as a very similar thing as what they're saying with Earth. You know, like with the way that it's going. He's basically, they show you him when he takes Gamora, you know, from her planet. She's basically a tiny child who's starving and living in some fucking dirty shack. She's like dirty. They're like poor, her family. And he comes to that planet, Thanos, and he does to her planet, which he failed to do to his own. The way the Thanos arc starts is he basically shows they're sort of on Titan. They decide they're going to take the fight to him, and they go to Titan. And he turns up then that like Titan is a wasteland. It's an absolute wasteland. And that's when he says, you know, this place used to be beautiful and it used to have like all this. And he uses the stones, he uses the time stone to just show them what it was like.
I think it's reality.
Didn't he? It might have been reality. He used one of the stones anyway. It might have been time to show them, might have been reality. It was he showed them, it started building around them.
Yeah.
And he showed them like a really thriving planet. And he said he went to like his people and he told them, you know, he did the calculus and basically said, you know, we can't sustain. We can't carry on. You need to do these, you know, you need to take these harsh measures of destroying 50% of this population so that the rest of us can, you know, flourish. Otherwise we're going to be, you know, and they don't listen, obviously, because they're saying you're crazy, you know, you're fucking mad. But then it does happen. And the planet just basically destroys itself and everything's gone and it's all fucking ruined. And that's the arc that they're going with. So he decides, fuck it, that won't happen to any other place. He starts going to other planets and doing it sort of more manually before he has the stones. Obviously, he must work out to himself. They go in there with an army and executing people like he did on Gamora's planet. That's what he did. He killed like all of their planet with his army, just started shooting, like lining everybody up and just shooting them all. And you know what I mean?
He went like that, and he was like, that side, you go that side, you go that side, you go. And they shot everyone on one side, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he takes her, then he takes the child, the Gamora child, and he just distracts her with some funky like blade that she still has on her. But you can feel already the care that he's interested in her, and you know what I mean, that he's fascinated by her, and he wipes out that planet. He does it more manually than using the stones, but obviously he decides that part of his plan is to be able to do that more seamlessly, faster, not going to planet by planet. It will take him forever. So that's where he comes up with, I think, the idea of getting all of the stones together, and he can do it simultaneously.
Pick of a finger.
Yeah. I mean, the way that they did that arc, I really like that, because I don't think the death thing would have been relatable. Nobody would understand that. If it was like, he's fascinated by death and he's in love with her and he wants to try and impress her, and the way to impress her is by taking souls, it's just not going to work. It just wouldn't work, I don't think. I just think everybody, comic fans would love it. I would be okay with it, but I think the masses wouldn't understand. I think they'd just be like, this is a fucking ridiculous story. And I kind of actually liked the art that they went with him,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then you have like the big, where are we? So he takes them to Titan. They have the big kind of battle on Titan. Well, first of all, sorry, you have Doctor Strange captured. You have Spider-Man and Iron Man on the ship. They fight with Ebony Maw. They kill him, and then that was.
No, that's not decided. It's like that. They're in space, and they decide to like fucking blow apart the ship up, and he flies out, and you see him sort of crystallize as he goes outside. But to be brutally honest with you, I would be very surprised, depending how they deal with his strength and his powers. I'd be very surprised if that would kill him, because I don't think it would.
Yeah.
It depends how weak they make him. I mean, they do. The thing is with this is they really do. You're right. They have that big sort of battle with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Iron Man. It's funny though, because before they get into the fight with Thanos, Doctor Strange basically warns them. He says, I'm just telling you that if it comes between your life and this stone, I'm sorry, but it's going to be your life. I can't give this stone up no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So, and it's a funny moment, because at the end of that fight, that's exactly the position that he's in, where literally Spider-Man's down and out, and Iron Man's got a massive part of, I think.
Oh no, I was talking about the fight before that.
What one?
I'm talking about the fight before, where they fight, and then Ebony Maw's fighting the three of them, and then they let Ebony Maw out the side of the ship. Yeah. Then they free Strange, but then they go to Titan, and then then Thanos turns up. The Guardians turn up. Then the Guardians and the three have like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Iron Man have a little bit, not really a fight, but they have like a little battle. They realize they're on the same team. Then Thanos turns up. Then he shows them the story about the history and blah blah blah. Then they start fighting with Thanos to get the gauntlet off of him, and it cuts to other things as well. Sorry, because before that, Thanos does Gamora, doesn't he? So
yeah, but he hasn't got that. He hasn't got that stone. The Soul Stone doesn't come into actually quite like just before Vision Stone, isn't it?
No, because they're fighting him, and they need to get the gauntlet off. And the reason they fuck up is because he's killed Gamora.
Fucking on, man. So much happens in that.
Yeah, it's such a busy film. They're like basically what happens before. Sorry, so somewhere in the middle of they crash on Titan. They fight the Guardians. While they're fighting the Guardians, I think Thanos goes off. He tortures Nebula to find out where the Soul Stone is through Gamora to tell him, because she doesn't want her sister tortured. She then tells him.
She's the only one who knows.
Yeah,
she's the only one who knows where that stone is, because Thanos sent her to find where that Soul Stone is, and then she goes back and tells him that she can't find it. And he basically says to her, I made you good at a lot of things, but lying is not one of them. You're still crap at that. So he knows she knows where that stone is. So then he brings her into a room, and Nebula's like fucking up, hanging sort of in the air, and like all the mechanical parts of her are basically just all pulled apart, and sort of like it looks like gravity is, or like a magnet is pulling all of her parts away from her body.
It looks like one of those weird fucking those sculptures with an animal chopped up in formaldehyde. You know, it looks like one of those weird things, which is all hanging there with like a bit.
Like that.
But
like that, yeah.
So basically, then they go to this place where to go get the soul gem, and what happens is you find out that you find out that Red Skull's still alive. It's not the same actor, by the way. I looked it up. It's a different actor.
Is it not?
No, he done a very good job because it didn't really sound like him. But it's a different actor. I looked up on IMDb afterwards, and then what happens is, Red Skull's on this place. He sort of comes out of fucking nowhere. Then he tells Thanos that, you know, it's simple, that all you have to do to get the soul stone is you have to give a soul. You have to give a soul that you care about to be able to get the soul stone. And Gamora's there. She's like laughing her ass off and going, you know, this is funny because it's like you don't care about anything, so you're never going to get the soul stone. And then he's crying. And she's like, oh, what, really, are you that kind of upset about this? And Red Skull's a bit like, yeah, he's crying for you. And Thanos fucking chucks her off the side and then gets the soul stone. Yeah,
it's not quite
kind of like that's the simplified version.
It's not. I mean, he's really conflicted about it. She basically says to him, you know, I've waited all my life to see you beat, to see someone stop you. And in the end, the universe has answered my prayers, because the only way you can get this is by giving a soul up that you love, and you don't love anybody. And to her ignorance, she's not realised that actually he fucking is crazy about her. So he's crying, like tears running down his face, and she's like, you know, oh, come on, you're not, you know, you can't be that upset about the fact that you can't get the stone. And he pulls her and he's like, you know, I didn't seize the opportunity to reach my potential last time. So obviously he's hinting at some form of backstory where he could have done this before, or he could have got somewhere before, and he let his heart get in the way of that decision, because he's like, I was faced with an opportunity like this before, and I didn't allow myself to reach my potential. I can't have that happen again.
Yeah.
And he just he throws her off, man. he throws her off the fucking end of the building.
There were a lot of moments in the film though where, especially like just going back to like when Loki dies and some other people die, where you think, yeah, Loki ain't dead. He's done this. He's pulled this shit loads of times before. He's coming back. It's like, yeah, he ain't coming back. This is the really real world. He ain't coming back. You know. So, but yeah, then he does the more.
So much action. Man.
Then he goes. Then he goes.
I mean,
He goes then over to where the Guardians and Iron Man and Spider-Man, Doctor Strange are. Doctor Strange then works out. He does this like calculation, and he says like he's having like a bit of a moment where he's kind of like sort of like glitchy and going all over the place. It looks like a glitch like a glitch in the Matrix, and he's kind of like flickering and he's hovering. And then what happens with that is they go over to him. They know someone says, "Oh, I think it's Star-Lord." He says, "Oh, what's up with your boy?" or something like that. And then he looks over, and they go over to him, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm just going through realities, and I realised that, you know, there's 14,500,000 and whatever thousand ways this plays out, and then I think Iron Man or whoever says, "Oh, how many times do we win?" And he goes, "1." You know, so obviously he knows the path for them to win. So,
or at least a path that they don't know. So when they start fighting and Thanos is fucking kicking the shit out of all of them, then it becomes again, like I said, you know, it becomes a serious moment where they've got him actually, which is really interesting. Where they basically get into a fight where they have him, and you know, all of them got one arm, all of them got the other arm is being like held down, and that Guardian woman with the antennas on her head, the one that can make people feel things. She jumps onto his neck and like grabs hold of his head and starts trying to control, you know, trying to keep him calm.
The Mantis.
Yeah, they try and keep him calm to pull the gauntlet off, which is interesting because he's immune to mind control in the comics, so that wouldn't have worked for half a second. She'd jumped on his neck, and he would have
swatted her like a fly.
He would have knocked her off. But then you sort of get a little. But it's quite clever because they sort of also show you how much pain he's in from the Gamora incident, because she's saying he's in pain,
he's grieving,
hurting, he's grieving, he's devastated, and all this. And that's when he sort of lets it slip. He doesn't let it slip. He's just talking, and Star-Lord starts asking him like, "Where's Gamora?" and all this, and he basically says like, "I threw her off the fucking side of a mountain or whatever."
Not quite like that, but yeah, he's like, "Yeah, she's dead," and then he loses his shit and starts punching him in the face and knocks off Mantis and fucks up the whole fucking game.
Which Thanos obviously responds to in kind, because they nearly had the glove off, like literally it was coming off. You start to see it rise away from the body. He just managed to grab hold of it and pull it back in, and then they all start fucking fighting again. And that's when it goes quite bad for them. It's quite a bad moment for them. And
that's when he fucking pulls the moon to the fucking. he goes like that, and then there's like a moon behind him, and he's like that, and then the fucking moon just explodes and like starts like meteor shower down. But yeah, it's badass. I'm trying to remember then. That's what happens. Is Thanos starts fucking them. Thanos starts fucking them all up. He has a good fight with. I think he just fucking swats. I think he does all the Guardians easy, doesn't he? Or what are they fucking doing?
Yeah, they're all getting bashed up pretty simply, and then he sticks some. He sticks like fucking a weapon through Iron Man through his stomach where it goes out the other side.
No, it's what is Iron Man? Iron Man's doing his shit where he's got all his like the shield comes out here, bang, he rips it up, bangs it off, and he's like Iron Man's like suit kind of adjusts to like it keeps on like forming onto other parts, and then he's like having like a spike here, he does this, does that, and then I think Thanos rips off part of him and that spears it through his and then basically he's about to kill Tony Stark, and then what happens is like Doctor Strange is all like, yeah, don't do it, I'll give you the soul gem. So obviously he knows then. Sorry,
for his life. I'll give you the stones for his life.
Time gem. So he's like, he basically then gives him the gem, and everyone's like, why did you do that? Blah blah blah. So obviously he knows that basically that Tony Stark plays a vital part in in the actual one fucking victory. So otherwise he wouldn't give up.
Yeah. I mean, well, definitely thought that. I got that impression. I mean, there is a big battle that's going on in Wakanda as well, where they're basically, like you see in the trailer, we're all in these fucking alien things that they send down in these like pyramid-like vehicles, pyramid-like nest that they land on the planet's surface. And Wakanda got this big sort of like force field that basically protects the center of like their city. And these aliens are like basically they're trying to get through. There's like hordes and hordes of them, like almost, and they're trying to get through, even to the point where they're like burning and cutting themselves in half, just trying to get through the perimeter. And and at that time they're hiding vision. That's the whole reason they've got vision, and they're trying to
extract the gem from his head.
They're trying to get the gem out of vision so they can destroy it, and obviously without hurting vision. So I think it's Black Panther's sister. I think it's Shuri who's working on it. Maybe it's Shuri. Somebody important is working on it and trying to do it delicately so they don't kill vision in the process.
Yeah.
So he's up there with that, and the Scarlet Witch is up there protecting him while they're working on it. So the aliens are down and they're trying to get in. They're trying to get through the thing. And
you got like
Black Panther works out that they've gone all the way around the perimeter. They're trying to find weaknesses in it, and they're basically going to go around the back. And they're like, we can't have them around the back. That's where vision is. We need to keep the fight in front of us. So we need to open this force field and fight them head on and stop them from getting in around the back. And we don't have any forces to protect vision. Yeah. So obviously they open the door. They start having a monumental scrap and fighting and everything else. It's quite disappointed, really, because that's where that's where Proxima and Scarlet, not Scarlet, Black Widow, and a few other people, they start fighting, and she's.
Well, that's the thing. Is Scarlet, Black Widow does it, doesn't she? Quite like not really that hard. It's not really a tough fight. It's not. It's a bit of a close fight considering like that proximity midnight fighting a human.
Comes down, didn't she?
Huh?
They're all winning, isn't they? The Black Order are doing the damage and they're winning.
Yeah.
And then what's her name jumps down.
Well, no, that's then what happens. Black Giant, I think it is, goes to proximity midnight.
Black Dwarf, fuckhead.
So whatever the fuck.
Giant.
Super giant, whatever, fucking the big guy, you know, he basically says, they're out now or something like that, because Scarlet Witch comes out and he warns her, so Proximity Midnight fucks off to go get her.
They're losing. They are losing. They're all in trouble, and she sees that from up the top, watching that they're in trouble, and she comes down and she starts fucking people up. She's like, obviously she's super powerful. And then I think that's when doesn't it where 4 arrives as well? You know what I mean? Where the
just 4 arrives after that as well. Yeah.
So they're all fighting. Basically, she comes down to try and level it up, and she's like she's fucking well powerful. They're not doing too well. You know, obviously you got things like Captain America, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch. You know, not Scarlet before she gets involved, and the Black Widow, but they're not doing so well. They're going to all die. Falcon, that bitch is not doing well. And War Machine, they're all fighting in that sort of arena, and they're getting overrun. They're going to lose.
Bucky does fuck all in it. Bucky Barnes does fuck all.
Yeah, he doesn't do much, does he? He has a little moment with his gun with Rocket, but other than that, there isn't really much. He wants his arm.
Well, we missed. We've actually sort of missed out. We missed out the whole fucking Thor side of it. But
that's what I said before we get into the Thor arc. That's when he sort of comes. Because after, obviously, that fight, I think he sort of comes around then, doesn't he?
Yeah, he jumps down.
The end of that fight.
He comes down right at the end. So he comes down as...
You didn't like that part, the Peter Dinklage bit. You didn't like that. I liked it. You didn't like it.
It's all right. I mean, I just thought it was a bit shit. Like, you know, I thought it was quite funny when he sort of says to him, like, yes, if you hold over the iris, you will die if you hold it open for too long. And he goes, what did he say? He says something about it, like, if I die, I die. Yes, that's what I say. Or something like that. But it made me laugh anyway, what he was saying. But he goes off and he gets, they call it Stormbreaker, but it's not.
No.
So that was a bit, okay. And then also they hold the Ultimate Warhammer together with with Groot's fucking twigs, which Groot basically, the handle that Groot makes, if you notice, like Groot fucking like goes like that, pulls the 2 pieces together, and then literally goes like does a little karate chop and it's broken. How fucking strong can that be then? You know.
Well, I mean, they seek out a weapon. Thor seeks out, after obviously the devastation of Loki being killed and him and everybody dying and Thanos taking the stones, blah, 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 blah. His motivation is that he wants to go and get another weapon made like what he had before, a weapon to kill a god like Thanos. So he goes and he tries to get one forged. He arrives at this planet, which is basically a giant fucking forge, which makes weapons, that makes like work through using like a star, like the sun, to like heat up and, you know, burn all this stuff. But it's all desolate and destroyed, and only Peter Dinklage is there. And I think Thanos has done something with his arms, because his arms are all like they're like funny. They're made of something else, like stone or rock or whatever they're made from. And he says that basically Thanos made him, Peter Dinklage, this is, who plays this, you know, obviously the dwarf of Game of Thrones, but he's massive. He's like about 30 foot tall. So he basically says that Thanos makes him make the gauntlet that can hold the Infinity Stones, because you can't hold it. It's very difficult to wield them. So he makes Thanos gauntlet, and then once he does make Thanos the gauntlet, Thanos destroys the place and kills everybody there, only leaving this guy alive with what remains of his sort of like hands. So he basically thought, like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna try. You know, you need to make me another weapon so I can kill this fucking guy. So they basically like, oh, you know, then there's the big talk of Stormbreaker, and you think, well, No, Stormbreaker's not an axe, you know. Better a Bill called Stormbreaker, but it's a little nod to that, which is fine. But actually, when you look at it in the film, it is actually Ultimate Thor's hammer, which is the axe. It's more like an axe shape. It's pretty much what I have on the Better a Bill statue behind me. That is exactly what it is. That hammer has a little bit of an arc thing at the back, and then a big spike at the front, a big like sort of axe-like spike. But yeah, that's what they make. Then the group, they managed to get the forge working and blah blah blah. It's all big cinematic moment, and he ends up taking the hammer and then going up and jumping into the Wakanda fight. And him and Wanda actually turned the tide of the whole thing.
They fuck up loads of people.
I think, and then Proxima Midnight dies. She's having a fight with Black Widow, and then that I think.
And then Black Dwarf, Black Dwarf gets done by Banner, because Banner's in the Hulkbuster suit, and basically what happens is Black Dwarf rips off Banner's arm, like the Hulkbuster arm, rips it off, and then Banner kind of does something to make it kind of rocket up, so it kind of rockets up into the force field, and he blows up.
Well, no, it goes through, doesn't it? The force goes through and it cuts him, and I think cuts him half.
Yeah.
So you actually see him dying, which is interesting because whole through this film, if you're a really big Hulk fan, it's actually quite upsetting.
Hulk's a pussy.
Of the whole film, he refuses to come out. But like Banner's calling him to arms, like, get out here and fight. I need you to fight. We need you. I know you like leaving it to the last minute, but I need you to come and fucking help us. And he just every time it like looks like he's about to change, the Hulk's head pops up, the Hulk, and he's just like screaming at him, no, that he's not coming out. It's like a spoiled child that won't come out of their room. Yeah. And he's basically, he's not having any of it. So he can't change. So hence he's in the Hulkbuster armor, trying to fight that way because he can't get the monster out. Which was interesting. It's an interesting way of doing it, that you have Banner in the film, but he's not the Hulk. I actually thought it was kind of weak, personally.
Well, I personally thought...
I am glad that Thanos kicked his ass so badly. He didn't want to come out and fight with anybody else. Obviously, Hulk's a little bit more of a bully in these films than we like to say. It's not really that's not really hero-like. He's not fighting when the odds are against you. That's not nice. So, as a Hulk fan, I would be pretty pissed off if I went to see this film. I have to say.
Well, I think what they're doing is they just trying to save something for part 2. Someone was making a joke and saying, yeah, well, clearly what happened was they used their whole CG budget on Thanos, so they didn't want to get the pay for Hulk. But yeah, clearly that's not right. But I just felt that Hulk for me was shit in Ragnarok. Hulk for me was shit in this. I liked the beginning bit when he came out. I just think that. But I don't really like Ruffalo, to be honest with you. I don't like him. Out of all of the sort of banners there've been, I don't like him that much.
It's probably the weakest.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think I would definitely take Norton first, and then I would even go with Eric Banner. I would take him second because he played angry and conflicted and much better.
Yeah, well, he's a good actor. I mean, I don't know if you've seen. You ever seen Chopper?
Yeah, I've seen it. Of course, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. I like him in Chopper. I think he's wicked in Chopper.
He's a very good actor, but yeah, I agree with you. And unfortunately, if you're not a Ruffalo fan, this film's not ideal because it's mostly Ruffalo. In fact, barring the first 10 minutes, it's only Ruffalo as Hulk. You don't get to see the Hulk really throughout the film. Little glimpses where he's like told to come out and fight and stand up, and he absolutely pussies out, which I didn't really like that art. I didn't like that angle because it does make. I know what maybe they're trying to save Hulk to come in and save him later, but. You know, a lot of people have died as a result of him not fucking wanting to fight, which I just don't think is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you were saying. You were saying to me about Hulk was that if he was to fight that Black Dwarf,
yeah,
if he was to fight Black Dwarf, you'd just smash him up anyway. So
that's what I thought should have happened, though. I should have. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen the Hulk come out right and been there, and then. Then basically go, oh, well, we've got a monster of our fucking own. And then them two have a fight and him kill Black Dwarf. And then Thanos smash the Hulk. And then the Hulk disappear fine. But I really don't like, there's something about making the Hulk look like a bully because only bullies don't want to fight when it gets hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all right punching people, don't punch you back. Second, you start getting hit and you lose, you see what you're made of. You know what I mean? Real warriors, that's what it's made. And the Hulk is a real warrior. So playing him that way, where he's this petulant child that's like, I ain't coming out and fighting because I can't smash everybody. I've just had my ass kicked. I don't want to come out of my room. Really didn't like that angle, the way that they played it. I think they should have been, if they wanted him out, and I think they did in the first, in parts of the Infinity War, Gauntlet. I think there were ways of getting him out of there. I mean, I think he was excommunicated. He didn't even know what was going on, I think, when that was going on in the comics. So I think they could have found the way, to have it. Maybe they should have left him sort of on that planet where he's the gladiator and all that for a little longer while the first war was going on. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. I didn't like that element of the character. It's a bit of an unforgivable thing for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a disappointment. I think that they should have at least had like I think what they've had in other Hulk films where if he's conflicted and he has these issues, and then at the end it has that moment of, oh yeah, he's fucking back, But maybe because this is a 2-part thing.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Cassie's just asking, like, what did we think about the fact they didn't use the Hulk's ability, that when he gets angrier, he becomes, stronger. They didn't use that comic ability, and that is pretty much, I think that's true of a lot of these characters. I mean, I was really curious to see how they were going to underplay Thanos, because you can't put him in that comic. You can't put him in comic strength in that film, because everybody would be dead in 30 seconds. It just wouldn't last, because no one was standing up to Odin. Nobody was fucking with Odin, you know what I mean, in the movie. And Thanos is that level, so without the glove. So having that would have been a little bit dangerous. So I thought that what they did that fairly well. I think they made it so that he is beatable. They showed you a few weaknesses, and they also showed you some human elements, like you were saying. They showed you anyone that's like that. You can beat. I mean, he was quite open. That was quite nice through the film. I actually really enjoyed Josh Brolin's performance as Thanos all the way through it.
One of the things about, I've read some things about how people were saying that, normally they call it like the CGI curse, where any actor who kind of does a CGI role is pretty much fucked. They can't. It doesn't work a lot of the time, and I think that this was probably one of the best sort of CGI voice combinations together. I think it was done great. I think it was really, really well done. I mean, you do, even when you sort of Thanos sits down, I mean, he kind of he doesn't sound like a total dick, and he does sound quite reasonable, and like he knows what he's doing, and that kind of business. Because normally with villains, it's always they have a theory of X, Y, Z, which in theory it is like, oh, okay, but then their practice of delivering it is questionable, and I guess he sounds very reasonable throughout. He's not like a savage, he's not stupid, he's not, so yeah.
The one thing also that they did, which was very interesting, is that in the comics with the glove, it's the mind. Thanos doesn't actually need to do anything physical to make any of these elements of the glove work, or make any elements of the stones work. In the film, they made it that when he clenched, they were trying really hard to stop him from clenching his fist, because as soon as he clenched his fist, he activated the stones and whatever else he wanted to do. And the objective there was, stop him from whatever happens. Don't let him clench his fist. And they're relatively successful. There's one part where Spider-Man webs it. There's one part where Iron Man he throws some armor on it, and it locks around his palm, and he can't clench his fist. It's all elements that keep things in suspense, like they're going to overcome him, that they're going to fight back. And I like the way that they did that. They gave the gauntlet a weakness, instead of it being subliminal, and instead of it being, I just want you to turn into thin air, which is what Thanos does. In the comics, it's just like Galactus turns up, I'm fucking Galactus, let's feel my power, and Thanos just thinks, I'm just going to turn you into a bubble. and that's what happens. He turns into loads of like bubbles and floats off, or that's pretty much the Infinity Gauntlet comic. And I was thinking, how in God's name are you going to produce that on the screen? Because you can't fight that. You can't fight that type of villain. It's just not possible, not physical, because Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther, it's all very physical, isn't it?
Physical. They're still human. That's what you got to remember. They're all human heroes, which once you start going into, I mean, like Thor would fuck them all up, basically. Most of the Avengers. I mean, if they didn't have Hulk and Thor, they'd be fucked. So I think
that's a good shout. I mean, the way that they did the hand thing, I like that, because it gave humanity an element of hope of beating this guy. So then we're coming up to sort of the climactic. You have to forgive like us going into this, because we see films once, and that's it. We a lot of people have gone in 2 or 3 times, and it's just not really what me and Alex will do. We'll let it sit and digest for a while, and then we may go watch it again. But
I might go watch it this week. But it's actually the fun side. Just to, I don't know if this was meant to be a conclusion or anything, but one of the things as well is I think I've only ever seen a couple of films in the cinema like twice, and no, but it's because I had like cinema passes or stuff like that, and this is one of the kind of only films I've been sitting there thinking, I want to see this again. Because there's so much to digest, and
we're trying to get Jenny to so much. She won't go.
Yeah, I told Radd that story. He was pissing himself laughing about that. I said basically George told me, he goes, first of all, he went home. Oh, sorry, but we'll say at the end because it comes up in the film anyway. So basically, sorry, we'll go into George's story after. But so what was next? So yeah, all the Wakandans, whatever, blah blah blah. Proximity Midnight died. Black Dwarf died. And then
I'm not sure if he died. I mean, Green was telling me that he died, but you can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you can kill him. I don't know how they're going to do it, because in the comics, again, as long as that spear is intact, he can't die. And the spear is intact. The spear is intact. So the question is you don't know. Ebony Maw and Corvus Glaive definitely are question mark if they are dead.
They were the two. Well, they were the two that I would like to come back as well, because they were actually fucking badass. So I quite like those two.
They're the two that are questionable, to be honest. They may not be. I can't guarantee that they're dead. You'll know when you see the next film. But yeah. So then we're at that point. We're at the point where Thor turns up at the fight with Wakanda, and it's the tide is turning. And then obviously Thanos comes, and it's the final stone thereafter, which is Vision's stone. Thereafter, the times. Is it time?
No, mind.
It's mind, yeah. They're after the Mind Stone now that Vision has. So obviously, she's got down there. They've all. I told you, Scarlet Witch gets involved in the fight. When that happens, before they die, before sort of Corvus Glaive or Proxim Midnight are out, they basically.
Who fucks up Glaive then?
I can't remember. Green told me. I can't remember.
So yeah,
didn't like how he died.
Someone he's about to do someone, and then someone stabs him through with his spear. Who does
him that way?
Captain America comes up behind with the spear. No,
might be. Can't remember. Yeah. I can't. Honestly, there's so many people die. It's very difficult. But before that happens, obviously, as soon as they know that Scarlet Witch is on the field, they basically signal. They start talking. They say, "She's here. She's on the field. He's not protected. Get in there." And then obviously they start breaking in to where Vision is, where that woman is trying to extract the stone. But he has to run. He has to flee. He has to get out of there. So he does. He comes down. He starts getting involved in the fight, and that's when it all starts becoming a bit tasty. Yeah. And I can't recall too much. About the fight, I'll jump in. But the fight is going on. Thanos is now involved in the middle of it. He's come to claim what's his, and it's at the last sort of knock-ins. He's fighting with everybody else. They're all keeping him occupied, and Scarlet Witch is trying to extract the stone, like trying to make it explode, because even while it's in Vision's head, and he's like saying to her, "Don't worry, I love you. you could never hurt me. And she's like that. She's like really breaking up, and she's trying to take. He's like, you know, you have to do it, otherwise he's going to take it. And we're all on the edge of our seats, thinking, oh fuck, you know. And Thanos is getting closer. He started busting everybody.
But who's pushing him away?
She's got one hand on him, and then she's got one hand on the stone, if I remember correctly. She's fine. He's like pushing, with using his like armor to push through her sort of force, and he's coming towards her. Hitting him. He's like got rid of everybody else, like bashed everybody else up. They're all fucked. So he's like coming, and he's getting closer to her, and the stone is heating up and starting to crack, and you're like, oh fuck, is he gonna get there in time? And I'm thinking, fucking kill that bitch and get that stone, you know what I mean? But everybody else is like, oh, and then she does manage to blow him up. So like he blows up. And the funny thing about that moment is I was sitting there and I was remembering, fucking Thanos don't look remotely bothered. I think he just grabs her. I can't remember if he kills her or whether he just grabs her and smashes her out of the way. And then literally
does he just backhand her or so, probably?
I think he just hits her, beats her up, and then just knocks her to one thing. And he's all calm and smug, typical Thanos talking about this. Then he literally grabs his gauntlet, twists it, and it like sort of puts his arm around it, like so.
He does the like the thing that Strange does, where he has the band at the end of the
exactly. He activates the time stone and reverses it. So then you see him formed again, and the stone being reformed. You know what I mean? And then basically she's there, like beaming him again. He just knocks her out of the way, and then like Vision's looking at him. You know, fucking picks Vision up, grabs a stone, and just wrenches it out of his body.
Vision like turns all fucking grey and
whitey grey, throws down his corpse and puts the stone on there. Everyone's just like, "What the fuck's just happened?"
Yeah, but then he gets
bravo,
encore. But then he does that. And you see all the energy kind of going into him. And
every time he gets a stone, he sort of like, boom, he just comes up.
Someone says he pats her on the head and kills Vision. Someone says he pets her on the head like a good girl. But then like he's kind of there, he's kind of all charging up, or he's got these 6 stones, and then fucking Thor comes down out of the sky and just fucking does him with the axe in the chest, on the kind of like here and shoulder, like
it's in the chest. It's in the center of his chest.
Yeah, and he does him there, and then Thanos like pulls him towards, and he kind of goes like, "Yeah, he should have gone for the head," and then he goes like that, and then that's it. And then Thanos disappears.
It's that, isn't it? It's that. I don't think it does a click. Does he? Just goes bang. With his
it clicks because there's a thing about he says at the click of a finger, so he has to click his finger. Because there's a big thing about him saying that I can wipe out this at the click of a finger. He clicks his finger. I think he does that.
Might be, but I think it's that. We put in the comments if you saw it. I think he has his hand like this. He grabs him towards, and he says basically should have gone for the head, meaning so I couldn't use my damn hand.
Yeah.
And he goes like that, and then what is it?
I'm sure he clicks
at that point. When he goes like that, whatever way, when that happens, was it like he uses the space and like zooms backwards and is gone?
Well, if he's disappearing, what is there? Space, mind, time? Yeah, space. Yeah,
I think it's space. I think he does that, and then because you see him use space a few times, he keeps coming through portals, and then he sort of does that or clicks his finger.
Yeah, everyone's here going. Well, someone says I think Thor kills him. I know he doesn't. Yeah, and someone says it was just a snap. I think it was a click, but I'll check it tonight again. He snaps his fingers. He uses the space stone to go back. So I'm pretty sure
he comes out
because of the kind of importance of him saying at the click of a finger, I can wipe out 50%, or he can wipe out 50%. So it'd be stupid for them not to make him click his finger.
So when he does that, anyway, whatever way he does it, it's just because this is the way he's been activating the stone. So I assume
maybe he goes.
Adam's family.
Anyway,
he's out of there, and then I think the next moment he's up with the soul. He's up in the soul gem. That's why I think he is. Because in the comics, the soul gem, you have the souls of the people you take, or every soul. That's where they all are. So if you remember, there's a moment as he comes out, he's up, and the little Gamora's up there, the child, and he comes and he sort of sits down with her, and she says to him, you know, is it over, and was it worth it?
It cost you.
Yeah, and it cost everything, and it was worth it. And he's sort of like teary and stuff like that. And you know, I think that was quite an interesting moment, because I think the whole point of them showing you that is to show you that whoever is dead is not beyond the reach. So they could always, you know, like in the comics, they can always come back.
All right. So,
and then you get those moments.
And then basically what happens then is everyone starts fading away, and you see like the moments where you're like, oh shit, who's going to die?
This is the moment.
Everyone starts disappearing. We had a moment though, which was bad, because I can't remember it's pretty much like all of the fucking Guardians are gone, apart from Rocket, and if you can count Nebula, but Nebula and Rocket are there. Every other one is gone. Spider-Man was a big surprise, actually. That was quite emotional, that one. It's quite a emotional one where he's kind of there. He's like, I don't want to die. Yeah, I don't want to die. Yeah. Then you got
he's asking Tony for help, isn't he? Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. Vision's already gone. The best one is Falcon went, and me and George fucking started clapping. It was the best one. He's actually Anthony Mackie is meant to be. Anthony Mackie is meant to be like a really, really nice guy, and I've seen him in interviews, and he actually does seem like a really, really nice guy. But as Falcon, I fucking hate him. The problem with Falcon was in the first few movies, it was too like really shoved down your throat, like really, really forced on you that you have to like this guy, you have to like him, and it was just too much.
It really was.
So basically, yeah, when he died, it was just like fucking yes. And then I'm just trying to think now.
Thor's okay.
Well,
I came home.
I
came home.
Yeah, you can say your story now.
Oh yeah, I came home and I was like really early in the morning, and like I got into bed. And Jenny was like, "Oh, how was she?" I woke her up. She was like, you know, just by being there. And she went, "How was the film?" And I said, "Oh, it's good. Oh, fucking awesome. Everybody's dead." She went, "Everybody?" I went, "Yeah, everyone's dead." And she went, "Is Captain America dead?" "No." "Iron Man?" "No." "Hulk?" "No." "Thor?" "No." She goes, "Everyone's a fucking lie. What are you talking about?" Nobody died. I was like, "Yeah, but you know, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, Vision."
Does anyone remember if
War Machine died?
Black Widow. I don't remember Black Widow dying.
Like, I don't know.
I can't remember if Black Widow died or not, but
I think she might have died.
Yeah, I can't remember her dying. But then also, and then at the end, you see.
What do you think about the survivors being OG cast? That's David Cassidy.
Well, well, obviously, I've been talking about this quite a lot with others. Not with George, with others behind George's back. Basically, what is likely to happen now is, unfortunately, the ones that are alive now will be killed in future and not come back. The ones that are dead now are coming back. Bucky Barnes is dead as well. But yeah, so what it is basically there's rumors about I was going to say Sideshow there. Fucking hell. There's rumors about like Marvel Disney are wanting to move along the lines of the new storyline. So what they would want to do is they want to do so Thor will become Jane Foster. The Iron Man will be, I can't remember her name, but it's a female, it's a black female. Iron Man will become the black her, and then what it is Bucky Barnes will become Captain America, and then you have the Asian guy who is the new Hulk, and that's likely what the route allegedly the Disney Marvel are going to take. So
that's a smart smart idea.
So that's what someone was saying. But
going to use the old. Dave's saying you're going to use the old cast. I am thinking that too. Going to use the old cast one last time to save the day. I think this as well. If you notice the film and you watched it and you noticed something that's quite important, the only way to get the Soul Stone is to give a soul you love. Now that basically means that if they want to take that glove from Thanos, they want to take them stones, they're going to have to do the same.
Yeah,
there is no way that they can get hold of that Soul Stone without making the same sacrifice that he's had to make. So I think that either Captain America, I think it's going to be Captain America, or he's going to lay down his own soul so that they can take back control of the glove or take back control of the stones. It's the only way it will work. Somebody is going to have to die. People are going to have to experience loss.
Yeah,
might be Iron Man. Dave is saying I think it's Iron Man. Might be Iron Man. I think it could be Iron Man. Definitely would be. The thing is, the reason why it's more likely to be Iron Man is he is
more
the person that started it all. So I would imagine he started it and he ends it. So I would have said the
also,
same.
you have to remember that Iron Man saw the dream in Age of
maybe.
Ultron. He saw that dream where everyone is fucked and they're all on the floor, and he walks through it, and then she says like, "It's your fault. They all died or something."
Yeah, that's it.
So he's probably at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's but
I definitely feel that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I feel that one of them two, definitely those two, will have to sacrifice themselves in order to get control.
I think they both will, because both of the actors don't want to do it anymore. So both of the actors, Chris Evans, Chris Evans hasn't wanted to do it in the last fucking 5 films or so. He's been wanting to be a director for ages.
Yeah, well, Chris Evans, people don't forget that Chris Evans didn't sign Captain America about 6 times. He was offered the role so many times, he kept refusing because of the length of the deal.
Yeah.
When these lot sign you, when they sign you to star in a movie, you're signing for 10 films or 15 films. They're like, no, I'm not giving you 10 years of my... You're talking 10 years. And they're like,
Spanish Heart. Spanish Heart's actually saying a good thing, though. Apparently, Spanish Heart is saying that the running theme, though, for the Avengers is that they don't trade lives.
Yes.
So that's a good point.
Yes. But... That's a very good point. Yeah. They will. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. I think it's one of them two. I think one will die in a tragic battle.
And Lewis Ajeda says, rumor is that the second movie starts 5 years after the end of Infinity War. So they've been living with this loss for 5 years.
Well, that'd be wicked. I hope so.
That'd be quite nice.
I like that. I like that idea a lot. That the world has moved on.
Yeah.
And, he's probably prospering or doing better. But I like the end as well, where Thanos is sort of sitting looking over a sunrise, and it's almost like Annihilation.
Yeah.
It's almost, when, at the start of, I think it might be Infinity War in comics, it's Annihilation. I'm sure it is, where he basically is just like a farmer. He just lives on a planet and he's like a farmer. So he just sits around. He uses his suit. He's like on a scarecrow. And he uses that. Honestly, he's not retired. He doesn't. He just sits around, just living his life peacefully. And then he gets approached by Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
By the end of the film, when everyone's cool, the bonus thing that we stayed about 25 minutes to watch was where you see the rest of the people disintegrating and basically like.
Well, what you see is you see like all this shit starting to kick off. So you start to see like things exploding and helicopters falling and whatever else, and then you see Nick Fury and is it Maria Hill? Yeah, Maria Hill. Yeah. She disappears, and then Nick Fury runs to go to get something out of his bag. He picks up like a pager, starts fucking around with it, and then he disappears. And he's like, "Oh, motherfucker!" But it kind of like cuts off before he finishes saying it, and then he drops the pager. He's like connecting, and then it's connects to Captain Marvel. So yeah.
All right, so here's the list of the dead. Dave Cassie sent it. Good boy, Dave. Well done. So the lists are the collect. Oh yeah, he kills the collector.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to do it? Because I can see it on my screen. So basically,
I don't know.
in the film as well, you had a couple of characters who disappeared, and they make a joke about it. But basically, Clint Burton, Hawkeye, and Scott Lang, Ant-Man, they both were able. The deaths in the film are Wanda Maximoff, Vision, so Scarlet Witch, Vision, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot. Michael Reale nearly cried when Groot died.
Yeah, that was funny. Like, nah, man.
No, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. No. Mantis, Spider-Man, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Nick Fury, Maria Hill. Pretty much all the Wakandans are okay. The Collector, Loki, they haven't crossed off War Machine. I thought War Machine died.
I think War Machine died. And where's Idris Elba? He's not on there either.
No, Idris Elba isn't there either.
Yeah, so there's more dead than that.
There's more dead, but more. I know they got a picture of War Machine. I thought War Machine. I thought War Machine died because I thought we had a conversation after. Huh?
Did he die? Can't remember.
Maybe not.
I've got to see it again. Got to see it again. I remember him being at the end talking to somebody, but I can't.
But you know, the funniest part of that film was basically when they walk in and they haven't seen James Rhodes for a long time, and he was like, "Yeah, you look like crap," and I was like, "Dude, you need to look in the mirror. You look well fucking skinny. Jesus, do you see how bad he looked?"
Yeah, very. I don't like his casting. That guy, just very. I don't know. Maybe because it's Iron Man. Maybe because of War Machine, it doesn't matter. But he's the most feeble-looking man I've ever seen.
Well, everyone say War Machine lived. Okay, some reason I remembered him. I guess it was like
I thought he died. Maybe I was like hoping he died.
Yeah,
I don't like him either.
Oh yeah, he was calling for Falcon as Falcon died. Yeah. We know Falcon died. We fucking cheered. We were so fucking happy. I nearly dropped my my drink at that point. Actually, I didn't have a drink because George drunk my drink. So yeah,
sharing, man. Yeah, but it was good. Like I really enjoyed the film. For me, best Marvel film ever.
Best comic book movie film.
Actually, best comic book film ever. I mean, a lot of people on groups and stuff like that, having this moment where they're like comparing, him versus the Dark Knight. They're two different. I mean,
him versus. I'm just
going to say this out loud.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Dark Knight is well overrated. I'm sorry. If Heath Ledger didn't die for that, before that film was released, and all the hype around him dying because the role turned him depressed and all of this shit. If none of that was there, that film would be a good film. I don't even think he'd have got the Oscar, even though he deserved it. I don't think he would have got one if he had not sacrificed his life in some way. I just don't think so, because they don't look at, these type of films seriously enough. I don't think Oscars do. You die and all of a sudden, you're a saint, and it's like, oh yeah. I mean, the performance deserved an Oscar. I'm not saying that it didn't. I'm just saying I think he got it because it was such a tragic loss, and it was an absolute waste of talent and a tragic loss. But for me, I actually think that film really drags on quite a lot. Like, it's probably about 45 minutes too long.
There's like it kind of ends and then it comes back for another 20 minutes, and you're like, oh fuck me. But Gary's going on about the fucking aircon for ages on these comments. We basically went to the cinema where they decided that they were saving some money, and they fucking turned the aircon off. So we literally were there fucking sweating our asses off. I literally had George one side sitting like this with his arms fucking as far apart as he could get them, and then the other side I had Michael Reale doing the same, and I'm there like, all right, guys, I'm gonna need a bit of armrest here, guys.
Man. You don't own a set of them, but it's called lats.
Wow.
You can't put your arms narrow like this. You sort of sit like that, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, but you were sitting well overboard. You were like doing that. You were like, and then halfway through, I was like aware that I only had like a half a litre bottle of water. So I'm sitting there pacing myself, and then this cocksucker fucking takes my water and drinks half of it, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" I was pacing that. All right. So basically, what we do? Are there any other sort of spoilers or anything like that? We've gone over it.
I think we went over it best of our ability, to be honest. It's very,
But we went
there's
over
a
it. It's
lot.
very like all over the fucking
Yeah.
shop, but you know.
Oh, that's us, isn't it? Did the
I mean,
best that we could,
overall,
you know?
I mean, very, very good film. I do like the part as well when they go to the collector and he turns like Mantis to ribbons and turns Drax into like cubes because that happens
Yeah,
in the comic, doesn't it? But
I think it does. Yeah.
to Wolverine and someone else.
Again,
So,
though,
yeah.
it's another trick, isn't it? It's Thanos is playing another trick
Yeah,
because he has both of the stones. He has the Ether Stone. He has
mind
that stone. So
reality.
it's reality. It's reality. That's the
Yeah,
stone he had. When he gets the reality stone off the thing, and then that's what he does. He messes with their reality, and he makes them believe that the collector thing is all still there, and everything's all in perfect working order. And then it isn't. So he turns up, doesn't it? It's all like him. It's all blown to pieces. He's already got the stone, and the collector isn't even there. But the actor who's like, "Bravo, bravo!" like that when they're like fighting, he's not there. But that was a good moment. That was nice.
I wonder if Jeff Goldblum made it.
Now he's like living in an apartment, isn't he, with some geezer?
What was he doing? I can't remember what happened with Jeff Goldblum. No, but
Yeah,
the thing
at
is,
the end of Thor Ragnarok, one of the I think it's Thor Ragnarok. One of the bonus features is he's living with that guy that Thor rents his place. You know, when he isn't being used and he lives with that guy.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy moves in with him, and then he melts his other roommate. He melts him
I
because he
haven't
annoys
seen
him.
it. Yeah.
But it's like a bonus feature. It's like a funny bonus feature, and he's like living there.
No, I haven't seen that one. But the thing I do remember you telling me about it. But the thing is like obviously they didn't show him live or die.
The Grandmaster. Nah.
Grandmaster. All right.
Yeah. But,
All right,
I
guys.
mean, if you're after it, man, it's a really good film. I don't know about doing the chat. We're meant to come on Thursday. Maybe we should just do it Thursday.
No,
That's
I
quite long.
we've got 200 pictures to go through.
I don't know if I can do it, man. It's 8:30. We've been on this for 90 minutes. I don't want to do another 90 minutes. We got a big chat on Thursday as well.
Yeah, but then we're going to have like 400 pictures on Thursday, and we've got to do the competition. Do you want to go away for a little while, have a wee break, and come back, or have a talk about it?
I'll think about it. I have to talk to my wife. I have to discuss it with her. Happy life, happy wife.
Well, obviously she's going to say no because she doesn't like it when we spend time together.
That's it. That's how it goes.
So jealous. She's so jealous.
Myself 200 photos. That's it's about another hour and a half, and it's already 9 o'clock now. So I'll think about it. Which basically means I'll ask my wife if I can come out and play for a bit longer. We'll see what she says.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. What we do is we'll try and come back on for another chat, but we'll see what this son of a bitch is doing. Apparently, they're saying that Dave's saying that your wife has a better voice than me. Really?
She fucking does. That's not a lie.
I don't know. I like my voice.
She's got a lovely voice, man. Your voice is shit, mumbly fuckhead. Anyway, let's see what goes on. I'll let you know.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Click that like button down there as well, because I don't think anyone does.
They're thinking a lot of red ones when they stumble on this by mistake and realise.
Yeah. I mean, well, the other thing I loved about this film as well, which I don't know we said, but this film is like there was a moment where I was watching this film and thinking to myself, damn, this is fucking dark. This is like really dark for a Marvel film. And I was thinking to myself, like, at one point, shit, are we watching like a DC universe film here? And then I was like, well, actually, no, it's a good film. So yeah, I realized it was Marvel. But
yeah,
anyway.
I mean, it definitely for me is the best comic book film out. I think there was enough balance to it. I think there was a lot of action, but I didn't feel like there was too many characters. I felt like it's Civil War. I mean, I like Winter Soldier and I like Guardians. They're like the top three up with this one. But for me, I think this was the bigger job. So that's why it wins. Guardians again is another one that's a big job because it's introducing cosmic characters that people don't really know, and you have to be invested in them. I mean, Captain America and Spider-Man they're like folklore characters. This is different. So I think Guardians, introduced us to sort of a more cosmic, a more open Marvel universe. So that's a big one for me. But this is like the culmination of a lot of films, and every time they've done these type of films, it's always failed. always. No
Well,
matter which one you want to talk about, the trilogy, the final act, you know, very rarely delivers. Very
well, you
rarely.
go. This is like the 18th film or something, and then to pull 18 films together into like a kind of trying to start the conclusions for it. Yeah, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, not fuck it up. I mean, to do it is one thing, but to not fuck it up is another.
Mm.
And that's what I think deserves great credit. And it'll break all the records. It'll break every record out there. It's already broken the Dark Knight's record, which has stood for 10 years. So that answers the question already, doesn't it? Before people start asking which film is better, the public have already spoken. The money's been spent. So, you know, it's broken a record that's been there for 10 years.
All right. Let's go speak to Jenny. Go give her like a shoulder rub and you know, ask if you can come back. Even if it's, I mean, I'm free anyway. So I mean, even if it's if you want to have an hour break or something, let me know.
All right. Mate, I'll chat to the boss. I'll get back to you.
All right, I've got everything ready anyway. All the pictures are ready.
All right,
All right, cool beans.
Peace.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye bye.